We are back to the Matrix, Stevie B, Boston, coming back with the slam time from the Celtics game last night, pre-game for whatever the warm-up is tonight. Y'all already know what it is. What did I say? It's gonna take huge game from Tatum, huge game from regular game from and everybody's coming in now. You know what it is. Huge game from freaking Kemba, and that's what we got. And we roll into this. We're going to talk about the games going forward, but exactly what we got is what we got. Fournier with his offensive movement, his defensive movement. What happened? Third quarter, late in the game. Langford. What did I say about his length and his necessity defensively? Okay? Point blank period. Kemba had to bounce in his step. Tatum took over. Westbrook was brick, okay? And that's what it is. He was kept outside the paint more often than not. Them offensive rebounds in the first half kept them in the game, and the Celtics literally were willed to win this game. They willed themselves. Tristan Thompson. There were 3 or 4 players that willed this game to a win, including Langford at the end of that game. And there's nothing else that needs to be said about it, okay? Bradley Beal was clearly injured. Bradley Beal was not his full self and still dropped 22. And Bradley Beal would have dropped 40 plus if he was himself. I could see that about that game. Russell Westbrook was contested on most of them jumpers, but for the most part, even missed open ones. We know, but that's what did I say? I don't mind them pushing Russell Westbrook to shoot jumpers. That's fine. And I believe we had the better roster altogether. And what did their supporting cast do? Aside from Ish Smith, what did their supporting cast do? Hell, Ish Smith was the reason they stayed in the game. Bradley Beal and Ish Smith are the only reason they were in that game. And that's a half-hobbled Bradley Beal. And that's shout out to him and Ish Smith. All right. Tatum stepped up and showed his whole game. Played his whole game. He didn't play one game. Kemba had that bounce. Like we've been talking about these past couple of weeks. Kemba had the bounce, and it looks like this is the healthiest we've had Kemba. And this is all we're going to need that. If we're going to win even a couple of games. If we can win game 1, then it's a whole nother story. And I'm talking about against the Nets. If we can win game 1, it's a whole nother story. But it's going to take a tremendous effort. And what it's going to take is movement of the basketball. Shout out to Tristan Thompson because I doubted you. Now seeing what he did in a playoff type game, knowing the fact that, yes, my only problem is with him as the center. I would take Tristan Thompson at the power forward all day. He's Enes Kanter with defense. Double-double, a walking double-double. But he's going to play defense and get offensive rebounds all day. Better than what Enes Kanter could have. And Robert Williams, I think, should be put alongside that. But the way they have Fournier in there with that taller defender, I can't even be mad at that. Fournier played his ass off. That's energy. That's what you need. But now, if you notice throughout the game, we're not going to talk that like they were perfect. They were weaving in between each other. Tatum and Kemba standing at the same part of the court at the same time, even though Tatum made a shot. Fournier, Kemba, Tatum had a passing move, pick and weave a few times where they got caught up too close to each other. These things need to be worked on. And if this is what they got to go with, and they know what they're going with now, and they know what they're capable of, then they're going to be practicing these things. Because you can't make these mistakes against the freaking against the Nets. You have no chance at that point. They go up 8, that's going to turn to 15, and then 20, and then it's over. Okay. You have to stay with these guys every step of the way, and that gives way to when Tatum starts going. If he either starts early or if Kemba's starting. Kemba came out ready. That man had something energy-wise from the beginning of the game. Fournier, beginning of the game. And Langford is going to be a key proponent to this next series because of his length defensively, just like I said. I loved what I saw in the beginning of the game. Didn't like what I seen even in the middle of the game, and then at the end of the third quarter, even after they had gotten that lead. I did not like what I saw from certain places on the offense where you can tell they're not used to playing with each other still. In terms of Fournier Kemba, Tatum. You can tell the offensive mentality sometimes is starting from one man. And don't start putting the ball in Tatum's hand at the end of the game and have him bring it up. Start that somewhere in between the game. Start in the middle of the game. Have Fournier come to the top, because the man clearly knows how to pass the ball and has energy and will do everything. All right? But you can't just rely on Kemba, and you can't just say, oh, well, it's Kemba or Smart in the beginning of the game and the first couple quarters running the point, and then later on, then we'll just let it be, this man bringing up Tatum bringing up the ball, and then just goes from there, which turns into a wonderful offense. I believe Smart should be bringing the ball up more. I believe Tatum should be bringing the ball up more, and it creates opportunities for Kemba, other than him always having to create for himself, which with this bounce in his step could create so much room for him. And then he tires out Kyrie or whoever's chasing him. Okay, that person doesn't get an opportunity to just sit at the top of the key and defend him. And then he passes it and no, forget that. Let somebody else bring it up, and Kemba's already been moving, and somebody else is out the way now. Now, mind you, Kevin Durant is going to be a key in that next series in terms of his defense. But we already know, I don't consider James Harden and Kyrie Irving defensive factors. Yes, the Celtics are not supposed to win the next series, but I do believe they'll put up a tough fight, especially with Kemba's bounce back. They're not scrubs with Kemba's bounce. Kemba is an elite player when with this bounce in his step. And Tatum's capable of being the best player on the floor, even over what Kemba showed, and when he was carrying a team. They have 3 players that can carry a team. Oh, excuse me, 2 players. 1 player that can carry a team. James Harden carried a team. Kevin Durant never carried a team. Kyrie Irving never carried a team. In fact, when they were to be the person that had to carry a team, they failed miserably. So the leader of that team is James Harden. That's where Marcus Smart's necessity comes in defensively. It's no game that the defense that Marcus Smart, and not just him, but Langford and Nesmith, the defense that they can apply to Harden, and the intensity that Kemba was showing on defense, the quick feet. That man's feet were hella quick. That's back to Kemba. Defensively, the way he was playing. Even though Ish Smith played well, that man stayed in front of him all day. And Ish Smith plays a lot quicker than James Harden. Tell me what you think. I'm not saying that they're going to win the next series, but I'm saying if they win game 1, it does a hell of a lot for the team's confidence and the ability to play as a team who's been together longer than the Brooklyn team, but you got 3 Hall of Fame players. Like, what are you going to say to that? Well, we got 2 on this end. Hell, Mark Smart's, he's going to be at the end of his career when we get a championship through these cats of fringe because of his leadership, his defensive prowess. But it was a great game to be watched. Now let's see what they can take from that, especially with the injury to Robert Williams. That doesn't look like an injury that he's going to come back from in a couple of days. I saw that leg. Everyone saw that leg. I do not know what that's going to put my head down about that. But let's look forward to tonight. NBA going. I want to see Lakers Warriors tonight. Let's see what happens. It's going to be a great game. Steph Curry is going to, I think Steph Curry and the Warriors are going to win that one. I really feel like that. I don't know why, even though it's like, don't bet. LeBron's like the Tom Brady. You don't bet against LeBron. But I'm taking the Warriors. I don't care. I'm taking the Warriors. Even though I'll say this. If LeBron and AD... Well, what am I doing? Why would I take the Warriors? No. I'm taking the Warriors. I'm sticking by that. LeBron and AD play like they play, then maybe the Warriors don't have a chance, okay? But anything's possible. We'll talk later. Pre-game coming before the game. Just cause, even though we Celtics live all the time, I don't really care. I'm gonna do my thoughts on the Lakers and the Warriors later tonight. These play-ins are weird. Am I the only one who feels like this? Let me know.